Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the Texas Rangers in the first game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Rangers, right-hander Nathan Eovaldi, and for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease. Hi again everyone, Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch is coming up at 5:05 p.m. at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, you'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We also check in with Tony Gwynn Jr. in just a little bit. We have our keys to the game and much, much more to come. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside. Padres enter this series with a record of 46-42. Padres have won 9 out of their last 11 games. They're averaging nearly 7 runs per game in that span. Padres took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox over the weekend before a day off yesterday. Meanwhile, Texas is 38-46. The defending World Series champions snapped a 6-game losing skid on Sunday with an 11-2 win against the Orioles. The Padres play their first game of July today, a month where the Padres will play fewer games than any other major league team. The Padres have already played 88 games this season. That's the most in the major leagues, so a much lighter schedule both this month and the rest of the way. The Padres took a 5-game win streak into Fenway Park on Sunday. Let's take a quick look back.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Let's start in the bottom half of the first inning. Matt Waldron on the mound. Rafael Devers stepped in with a runner on base.
And a 2-1 pitch hit in the air to left field and deep. Profar will turn around to watch up at the monster, and it's gone. A home run. 2-run shot for Rafael Devers, his second of the series. And the Red Sox have a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. Their first lead since they were up 1-0 in the fourth on Friday.
Red Sox still led 3-0 in the bottom half of the fifth inning. Jarren Duran led off.
1-1 pitch hit in the air deep down the right field line towards the pole. Gone. A home run. Jarren Duran, a lead shot here in the fifth inning. He has gone deep back-to-back games. Kind of a carbon copy shot down that right field line, and the Red Sox lead is 4-0.
Waldron would get one more out, then he was taken out at 74 pitches. Waldron gave up 4 runs in 4 innings and a third. Padres trailed 4-0 going to the 7th inning. Jackson Merrill hit a 1-out double. That was Merrill's 3rd hit of the afternoon. Ha-Sung Kim was next.
3-1 to Kim. The pitch is swung on and hit fair up the left field line. That's going to roll to the corner. Merrill racing around third. He scores easily. Kim into second base. It's an RBI double. And the Padres are on the board here in the 7th inning. It's 4-1.
That would be as close as the Padres would get. Final score at Fenway Park on Sunday, the Red Sox 4 and the Padres 1. And now the Padres trying to bounce back in this series opener against the Texas Rangers. Again, the Padres have still won 9 out of their last 11 games, and they saw a 5-game winning streak come to an end on Sunday. As always, if you want to get involved with our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can tweet at me at SammyLev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. If you would rather watch on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, comment on there. Let me know. What is your key to today's game? Is it something about Dylan Cease? Is it something about the Padres offense? They've certainly, despite not doing a whole lot on Sunday, have been very, very good as of late. Let me know. What is your key to today's game? And I may just read your key to the game coming up a little bit later on. Let's go to Texas.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
We go out to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're joined by Tony Gwynn Jr. as we get ready for today's game. And Tony, let's just start with the schedule part of things, because the Padres are now entering a stretch where they will have a number of off days during the month of July, following what's been just a really tough schedule as far as games played in number of days. From a former player perspective, Tony, beyond what we would generally assume, how does having more off days over the course of a short amount of time help a player this time of year?
You know, I think when you've had the kind of runs that the Padres have had, where you've had a bunch of games in a short period of time, I think it was, 26 and 20 and 27. There was a 13 and 14. There was a couple of those. When you run into the part of the schedule that you're getting the off days, your body certainly appreciates it. You feel it. I think sometimes as a player, when you're down there, your body kind of gets into this rhythm and mode where you just go. And sometimes you'll feel the body, change a little bit over the course of an off day. A lot of guys don't necessarily like that. But when you are on runs like this, as the Padres have been, these off days are golden. You absolutely need them.
Let's talk a little bit about this Padres offense, because despite a quiet day on Sunday in Fenway Park, Tony, it's really been just such a productive offense, certainly what they did Friday and Saturday in Boston. In the overall sense, these last 10, 11 games, what have you liked about the way the Padres have operated offensively?
I don't know that there's been much that's changed. I think the thing that's noticeable probably more than anything is Manny being on the type of tear he's been on. I've said it, when you get guys like him or a Toddy or a Bogey, when he's healthy, when they get going, they can carry an offense. And he hasn't had to, because the offense is, the rest of the guys continue to do their things. I think Profar and Jackson and, in some ways, Rise, since he's been a part of this team, Cronenworth, they've all kind of been doing their thing all season.
Right.
Now you're starting to see what happens when the big guys start to get it going. That's how dynamic the offense can look that we saw on Friday and Saturday in Boston.
It's been obvious that Manny's been heating up. Certainly Jackson Merrill's been terrific as well as of late. But Ha-Seong Kim, Tony, he's playing better and hitting the ball better. Lately, a 9-game hitting streak, batting .344 in that span. With Ha-Seong in particular, what have you noticed about the last 9-10 games?
I just think he seems to be in a better rhythm. I think he's seeing the ball at the plate well. He's not chasing a lot. And the one thing that was happening earlier in the season, when he was getting his pitches, he was fouling them off. He's no longer – he's starting to kind of put those balls in play and put them in play hard. And, that's a good point. Ha-Seong is another guy who's starting to swing the bat better. And I think what you saw in that weekend series is what it looks like when you have a bunch of guys swinging the bat well and really having that same team offensive approach that we've seen all season. Now you're starting to see these guys, at least in that weekend series, kind of all come together at the same time.
Let's talk a little bit about Dylan Cease, today's starting pitcher for the Padres. He was really, really good against the Nationals his last time out. 7 brilliant innings, no runs given up, just 1 hit allowed. He struck out 9. It was considerably better of a start than what we've seen in totality, maybe the last month or so from Dylan. What stood out to you about what he did against the Nationals? Did he do anything different in that start at Petco Park?
I think the biggest difference was he threw the ball where he wanted to, and he did it often. I think in those, 4 or 5 starts he had prior to that, there would be times where he was throwing the ball where he wanted to, but when he didn't, it seemed like the other team wasn't missing those misses that he had. What you saw in his last start was a little bit of what we saw earlier in the season, specifically that start in Chicago, where he's throwing the ball where he wanted pretty much all game long, and you can see the results of that when he is throwing the ball that well. There's just not a lot of offense that's going to come from it.
Tony, you, Jesse, and Dave are at Globe Life Field. First trip the Padres have taken there since 2021. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys were not there in 21. You were doing the games from Petco, right?
We were doing it from a TV screen, yes.
Right. So, initial thoughts of Globe Life Field as you guys walk in there for the first time with the Padres?
outside of us being on top of the building, I think it gets a little bit of a bad rap. I think this stadium is nice. I think the inside of it is pretty sweet. They got a lot of different features in here. Like I said, outside of the view and us, being where we're at, I think the stadium is nice.
All right, very, very nice. Now, are you higher up than, let's say, the ballpark in D.C., Nationals Park? Because that one, I think, is like the highest in baseball. Is it higher than that?
Yeah.
No way, really?
No, I don't think it.
Wow.
After being here now, I don't think anything's going to ever surpass D.C. Like, D.C., I actually get a little, stomach movement.
Oh, my goodness.
From looking down. That's how high we are in D.C. This one, it's high. It ain't that high.
Okay. Well, Tony, enjoy it. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 4:55 here in San Diego. Thanks so much, as always, for the time.
No problem, Sam.
All right, that is Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show as we get ready for today's game here on the Padres Radio Network. First pitch coming up at 5:05, game one of this three-game series between the Padres and the Texas Rangers. And just to take a bit of a deeper look at the upcoming schedule for the Padres, because it really is quite interesting when you look at it, especially this stretch leading up to the All-Star break. Padres will play 3 games today, Wednesday, Thursday in Texas, then come home for a series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Diamondbacks. Then after that, the Padres have an off day on Monday. They play 2 against Seattle at home next Tuesday and Wednesday, another off day next Thursday, 3 against Atlanta Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week at home at Petco Park, and then the All-Star break. So just a ton of off days, including the All-Star break, but you'll take it if you're the Padres. Allows guys to get a little bit of rest, reset your bullpen a few times, so certainly a more favorable schedule for the Padres in the month of July. Lot to do on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We have plenty of injury updates to get to later, including a Padre that is up at Lake Elsinore tonight, continuing his rehab assignment. We'll tell you more about that coming up a little bit later. Our keys to the game, a full breakdown of this good pitching matchup here tonight between Dylan Cease and Nathan Eovaldi. First pitch coming up at 5:05. I'm Sam Levitt on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected. EcoWater SoCal. Your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:05 in Arlington, Texas. Game 1 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Texas Rangers. Let's hear from Padre manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Before we went to break, we talked about the Padres' schedule. Here in the month of July, the Padres will have more off days than any other team in Major League Baseball this month. Here was Mike Shildt earlier today on the importance of those off days.
This team likes to play. We love to play. We're here to play. We like the games, but days off, are important for everything you mentioned. To give the regulars a little time off their feet, give the bullpen a chance to reset, make sure they know they got a day off, and allows us to do some things potentially with the rotation occasionally, and at least give guys an extra day typically.
Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres here today. Here was Shildt on Cease.
Yeah, he's been really good. He's been able to mix in some other pitches, but throwing in a little bit more, opening up some of his other lanes, but he's been really, really good.
So that was Mike Shildt before today's game. We will hear a little bit more from Mike coming up during our injury report. He gave an update on Xander Bogaerts, Joe Musgrove, and many others as well. So we will hear a little bit more of what Mike Shildt had to say coming up a little bit later on. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We begin with a look at the hot category. Jurickson Profar certainly in there, a 21-game on-base streak, a 13-game hitting streak, hitting .289 in that 21-game on-base streak. Profar returning to Globe Life Field. Well, not Globe Life Field because he didn't play there as a Ranger, but he did play in Arlington as a Ranger. Of course, the team he came up with. He has a chance to do something kind of special in Arlington today. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Ha-Sung Kim, we mentioned it with Tony. He's hitting .344 during a 9-game hitting streak. He's in the hot category. Manny Machado hitting .400 with 4 home runs, 12 RBIs in his last 11 games. And certainly Jackson Merrill in the hot category as well. He went 7 for 14 in the 3-game series against the Red Sox. His last 21 games, Merrill is batting .363, 9 home runs, 20 RBIs, and 1168 OPS. That OPS ranks 5th in the major leagues in that span. In the not category for the Padres, we take a look at David Peralta. Peralta not in the lineup here today, but he is just 2 for his last 18. Padres could use Peralta to be a little bit more productive off the bench, so he's in the not category today. That's a look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for today's game coming up at 5:05. Let's take you around the horn.
What's the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball? Sam Levitt takes you around the horn on the Padres Radio Network.
We take a look at some of the headlines from around Major League Baseball today. Let's begin with veteran shortstop and former American League batting champion Tim Anderson getting designated for assignment earlier today by the Miami Marlins. He hit just .214 in 200-plus at-bats with the Marlins in 65 games, had only 3 extra base hits in those 234 at-bats. So we'll see where Anderson ends up, but he was DFA'd by the Marlins earlier today. Kind of shocking because Tim Anderson, he was an all-star just a couple of years ago, batted over .300 for 4 consecutive seasons with the Chicago White Sox, hit .335 in 2019, and now DFA'd by the Miami Marlins. So that's a piece of news there. As far as storylines on today's schedule, some of these games about to begin are already underway, but let's get to some of them. We'll have the full out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. The Guardians have baseball's best home record at 26-9. They are playing host to the team with the worst road record in the majors this season, the White Sox. Again, an update on that game coming up a little bit later. The Astros, remember how they got off this such a rough start this season. Well, wouldn't you know it, the Astros are playing really well, and they are right back in the thick of things in the American League wild card picture and the American League West. The Astros are 18-8 since the beginning of June. That's the best record in the major leagues in that span. They begin play today, just 3 games behind the Mariners in the American League West. Aaron Judge, remember how hot he was when he came to Petco Park with the Yankees? He enters July leading baseball in home runs with 31, RBI with 82, his slugging percentage at 708, extra base hits at 55. How about this? Through 86 games, Judge is already ahead of his pace from his 2022 record-breaking season as far as home runs. He had 30 at this point in 2022. He had 31. Again, he has 31 right now. So 31 at the same point in 2024 where he had 30 in 2022. I'm telling you, there's a real chance if Judge keeps up this kind of pace, he could get 60 again. Just continues to rake. So that's a look at some of the headlines entering today from around Major League Baseball. Well, we mentioned Aaron Judge, and it's a good segue into bringing up today's Padres catcher, Kyle Higashioka, back in the lineup here today for the Padres. And how about this? This was quite a stunning note when I came upon it earlier today. Higashioka has an .804 slugging percentage with 8 home runs in 17 games since the start of June. There's only one other player in the majors that has a higher slugging percentage since the beginning of June. You know who it is? His former teammate, Aaron Judge. He has a slugging percentage of .864 since the start of June. Higashioka ranking second in the major leagues behind him at .804 with 8 home runs in 17 games since June 1st. Higashioka has 9 home runs on the year in just 34 games. He's already just 1 home run shy of matching his career high. We'll see the next time that Higashioka hits a home run, that would match his career high for a single season. And as we know, Higgy has also been terrific behind the plate. He's really shined defensively. His 35.5% caught stealing percentage, that's the 4th best in the major league. So you look at what Higashioka has done both at the plate and behind the plate. It has been very, very impressive. And Higashioka back in the lineup for the Padres here today, doing the catching and batting 8th. When we come back, we'll hear a little bit more from Mike Shildt, the full injury updates for today. We'll also give you our keys to the game and a full breakdown of today's pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Nathan Eovaldi coming up a little bit later as well. First pitch coming up at 5:05 in Arlington, Texas. Our pregame coverage continues after this. our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we get ready for Game 1 of this three-game series between the Padres and the Rangers in Arlington. Still a lot to do on our pregame coverage. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a little bit. Also our keys to the game. Plus, we tell you what to watch for in our next segment. And we have a full breakdown of this pitching matchup between Nathan Eovaldi and Dylan Cease, coming off a great start against the Nationals on the mound for the Padres today against the Texas Rangers. A lot of injury updates to get to. Let's get to it.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
First, let's update you on Corey Seager for the Texas Rangers. Not in the lineup today. He was hit by a pitch on the wrist on Saturday. He is right now considered still day-to-day. His MRI did come back clean yesterday, but he is not in the lineup for a second straight game here today. So Corey Seager, obviously one of the Rangers' best hitters and really important players, not in the lineup for Texas here today. Luis Campusano currently on a rehab assignment with Lake Elsinore, the Lake Elsinore Storm, just about an hour plus away. He was 0 for 4 yesterday as a DH for the Storm. He's batting second and behind the plate doing the catching tonight. So Campusano continues to work his way back from that thumb soreness in his left hand. And again, Luis Campusano continuing that rehab assignment with Lake Elsinore tonight. Mike Shildt spoke about a number of different injuries before today's game. A lot to get to here. First was an update on Xander Bogaerts, and then he touches on many others as well.
We'll start with Bogey. He's had some favorable report about his CT scan. Looks like he's going to start a back-to-play plan that we talked about today and finalize over the next day or so. Had a good workout earlier today. Have another good workout tomorrow. See some velos, see some shapes. But according to him and the medical group, he's really in a good place. So that's super encouraging. Campy, as we know, had a rehab assignment yesterday in Lake Elsinore. DH going to catch a day. Reports were favorable coming out of that. So we'll see how he progresses there. Saw Joe play long toss the other day. In the last day in Boston. Feels like he's in a good spot. He's playing catch, and we'll see what that looks like. Still clearly a ways away, but able to move his arm with the baseball, and so far so good. Yu is back playing some catch and starting to get back in his program, which we're going to continue to put together with him. We'll have a little better idea when we get home what his plan is. And Toddy's, been able to rest. So, but the last report, I texted with him yesterday, is, no real discomfort with the walk, which is good, which means he's clearly healing on some level.
Campusano probably the quickest to return of that group, it sounds like?
Yeah, I would expect so, yes.
And how about Xander? Any timeline for him, assuming everything continues to go the way it is?
No timeline according to him rejoining with us. There's a loose timeline of when he can start to get back and get some DH and second base time. Likely with El Paso, we'll be able to announce that more than probably likely tomorrow.
Vasquez playing catch, is he on track to?
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, I haven't heard anything to the contrary. Haven't been able to get any dialogue with him about or any feedback relative to how his catch went today. But nobody's overly concerned that it's going to be something that's going to carry forward in any great detail.
Was the reason though to move King up a day?
There's a lot of reasons for it, but that was a factor. But we had our reasons, and obviously weighed in with Michael, and the rotation landed where it did.
That was Mike Shildt earlier today on a number of different injuries. Obviously, the injury that is most pressing right now as far as returning, not really returning, but just making his next start, that would be Randy Vasquez. Vasquez, he would have had his scheduled day Thursday. The Padres, at least for Thursday, are going to pitch Michael King on Thursday. And again, not really totally clear based on those answers what the schedule for Vasquez may or may not be, but we'll see what the deal is with Vasquez in the days to come. But again, his normally scheduled day would have been on Thursday in Texas. Michael King scheduled to make that start. Adam Mazur on the mound for the Padres tomorrow. So we'll see what the deal is with Vasquez in the days to come. And then obviously some news there on Xander Bogaerts as well, just as far as him. Sounds like good news, getting closer to the Padres finalizing a return to play plan for Xander Bogaerts. And that was the full injury update from Mike Shildt earlier today. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
A handful of games going on right now. Nationals ahead of the Mets 1-0 in the fourth inning in D.C. Red Sox 2, Marlins 0 in Miami in the fourth inning. Guardians ahead of the White Sox 2-1 in Cleveland in the fourth. Cardinals 2, Pirates 0, fourth inning in Pittsburgh. Reds and the Yankees scoreless in the Bronx, second inning there. Blue Jays 1, Astros 0 in Toronto, second inning there. Giants and the Braves are scoreless in Atlanta in the first inning. Still games yet to begin. Tigers at the Twins at 4:40, Phillies and the Cubs in Chicago at 5:05, Rays and the Royals in Kansas City at 5:10, Brewers and the Rockies in Colorado at 5:40, Angels and the A's in Oakland at 6:40, Orioles and the Mariners at 6:40 in Seattle, and finally in LA, the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers at 7:10. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have much more on all those games coming up later during our post-game show. We played this over the weekend. I think it's worth playing again, just as we continue to get to know somebody like Bryce Johnson a little bit better. Johnson is in right field once again for the Padres here today and batting ninth. Here was Bryce Johnson, a great story last week on Gwynn and Chris about how he became a switch hitter.
Grew up, I could always switch hit. My dad would always, swing me to the other side. Natural side's right-handed, but he'd swing me left-handed, and, we kind of fool around. He'd throw, and, I developed a swing that he noticed. Not obviously, growing up, I never, hit left-handed or anything, but he noticed it. And then high school came around. As a matter of fact, I tried out I think it was my junior year on varsity. I told our head coach, John Pope, I was like, hey, do you mind if I go up here? It was just a quick little scrimmage exhibition game before our season started. Do you mind if I go up here and hit left-handed and try it out? And he said, yeah, that's fine. Went up there, struck out on 6 pitches. Left-handed, and told him I'm never going to do this again. You ain't got to worry about it. And then obviously went to Sam Houston. Never thought about doing that ever again. Went to Sam Houston, and then my sophomore year of college, our head coach Matt Deggs at the time had a huge glass window that you could see into our cages, and we were just about to leave for summer, and I was in there fooling around with a bunch of the guys, and I was hitting left-handed off the machine, and obviously somehow was at that time, crushing the ball off the machine left-handed. He saw that, called me into the office before fall practice started and said, hey, I saw you hitting left-handed. And he goes, do you want to try this out? And I go, I've tried this before and it didn't go well. So he said, let's go ahead and just try it, bunting with my speed and everything, just getting down the line and all that. And I said, that's cool. And we went all fall, kind of most of the time working on the bunt. And then about halfway through, I started taking live ABs and stuff, swinging, and then we developed a swing. And, ever since that happened, I haven't looked back since then. We took it into that season, and 2 days before our first game, he called me in and said, hey, are you sure you want to do this? And I said yes, and we have ran with it since then.
That was Bryce Johnson, today's right fielder for the Padres. Again, you may have heard that over the weekend. We played that clip over the weekend, but figured maybe a different audience here during rush hour on a Tuesday, but kind of a good story there from Bryce Johnson. Again, he's in right field for the Padres here tonight and batting ninth. First pitch coming up at 5:05 in Arlington. Let's give you our keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
A lot to get to here. Key number one, Dylan dealing again. Dylan Cease was really good in his last start against the Nationals. 7 scoreless innings, 1 hit allowed. He had a 6.43 ERA in his 8 starts before that one. Cease had a rough start last year against the Rangers in August at Globe Life Field. A 2.73 ERA in 5 starts against the Rangers before that one. I'll tell you more about that last start against the Rangers in August coming up during our pitching preview. Bottom line is this: the Padres need Dylan Cease to be the guy we saw last week against the Nats. He was dominant. They need that here tonight. Key number 2, controlling some of the hot Rangers hitters. You look up and down this lineup, not a ton of guys are red hot, but a couple stand out. Wyatt Langford, the rookie, hits in 11 of his last 12 games. He's hitting .356 in that span with 3 home runs, 4 doubles, 14 RBIs in those 12 games. Langford hit for the cycle on Sunday, becoming the second ever Ranger rookie to do it. He continues to play a lot better since coming off the IL in late May. His first 31 games in his major league career, 5 extra base hits, 11 RBIs, a .588 OPS. His last 29 games, 12 extra base hits, 24 RBIs, and .849 OPS. So he has been a lot better lately. Also, Nathaniel Lowe, last 5 games for him, 8 hits, couple of home runs, 8 RBIs. Adolis Garcia, he's hit 3 home runs in his last 28 at-bats. So those 3, Garcia, Lowe, Langford, keep an eye on them. Key number 3, take advantage of a struggling Rangers pitching staff. Rangers pitching only gave up 2 runs on Sunday against the Orioles, but in the 6 games before that, the Rangers had nearly a 6 ERA as a team. They gave up 11 home runs in those 6 games. They also issued 28 walks in those 6 games, the most in the major leagues in that span. Compare that with the Padres offense. They've been great in this 11-game stretch where the Padres have won 9 of 11. In that span, in the 11 games, Padres are averaging 6.7 runs per game, 10.6 hits per game, just fewer than 2 home runs per game. You've got a Padre offense that, despite Sunday, has been really good. A pitching staff for the Rangers, despite Sunday, has not been very good. Can the Padres take advantage of this pitching staff both here tonight and in this series? That's key number 3. And key number 4, dealing with the Nathan Eovaldi 4-seam fastball and splitter combination. Eovaldi has limited hitters to a 195 average this season when throwing his 4-seamer and his splitter, but the Padres have hit a combined 280 against those pitches this season. That's the 5th best in the major leagues. The Padres are also batting .278 against righty starters this season, the highest team batting average of any team against right-handed starters in Major League Baseball. So can the Padres hit that fastball, hit that splitter, hit a right-handed starter in Nathan Eovaldi? That's key number 4, and that's a look at our keys to the game. When we come back, we dive a little bit deeper into a former Ranger returning to Arlington here today. We tell you about that. We also give you a full preview of today's pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Nathan Eovaldi. First pitch coming up at 5:05 in Arlington. I'm Sam Levitt on the Padres Radio Network.
first player born in 1993 to appear in the major leagues, and he cranks one high and deep to right field. It is way back. Goodbye. Welcome to the big leagues, Jurickson Profar. A home run in his first major league at bat. The Rangers lead 1-0.
Jurickson Profar, his first major league hit all the way back in 2012, a home run. Jurickson was the second youngest player and third teenager in Major League Baseball history to hit a home run in his first career at bat. And Profar returns to Arlington to take on the Texas Rangers, the team he came up with here tonight at Globe Life Field. Let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
As Profar returns to Arlington, he has hit safely in a career-long 13 consecutive games. A hit today would give Jurickson a new career-long hitting streak at 14 games. It's the second longest active streak in baseball behind Red Sox catcher Connor Wong's 15-game hitting streak entering today. I think we all hope this is the first of 4 games that Profar will play in this month in Arlington. These 3 against the Rangers, and then the All-Star game in a couple of weeks. We'll see. Profar certainly in a very good position to start that All-Star game. Jurickson Profar, a chance to make it a career-long 14-game hitting streak here today. Let's dive into today's pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Nathan Eovaldi.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview. Presented by Chimney Sweeps, Inc., San Diego's trusted chimney and fireplace service company for 40 years. Call Chimney Sweeps, Inc. at 1-800-CHIMNEY or book an inspection online at chimneysweepsinc.com.
On the mound for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease, 28 years old. Cease this season, 2024, 7-6, a 3.84 ERA, 17 starts, 98-plus innings. He struck out 125 and 30 walks given up as well. His .206 opponent batting average ranks 9th in the major leagues. His 125 strikeouts ranks 4th in the major leagues. Coming off a really dominant start against the Nationals last week, 7 scoreless innings, gave up just 1 hit, struck out 9. We mentioned earlier his last start against the Rangers, that was in August of last season in Arlington. Did not go well with the White Sox. He went just 1 inning and 2/3, gave up 7 runs. So we'll see if Cease can bounce back from that standpoint here today. The arsenal for Dylan Cease, a 4-seam fastball at 44% of the time, slider at 42%. As we know, he throws those 2 pitches a ton. Also will mix in the knuckle curve, sweeper, changeup, and a cutter. Meanwhile, on the mound for the Rangers, right-hander Nathan Eovaldi, 34 years old. This season, he's 4-3 with a 3.45 ERA, 13 starts, 73 innings, 74 strikeouts, and 26 walks. Last start in Milwaukee, 7 innings, 5 earned runs given up, 9 hits. He gave up 2 home runs in that game in Milwaukee. Home runs have been a bit of a problem for him lately. He's given up 6 in his last 5 starts after he gave up just 2 in his first 8 starts of the season. Eovaldi has also been really good at home this year, which maybe does not bode well for the Padres. But Eovaldi has a 2.22 ERA in 8 starts at home. He has a 5.40 ERA in 5 starts on the road. So we'll see how true that remains today. He's been much better at home. He's not faced the Padres since 2019. That was when he was a member of the Red Sox. The arsenal for Nathan Eovaldi, 4-seam fastball at 37%, splitter at 31%, curveball at 16%. Also will mix in the cutter and the slider. And that is a full look at our pitching matchup here today between Dylan Cease and Nathan Eovaldi. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Padres and the Rangers, game one of this 3-game series. Padres enter with a record of 46-42. Rangers are 38-46. Despite losing on Sunday, the Padres have won 9 out of their last 11 games. And on Sunday, the Rangers beat Baltimore, but before that, they were in the midst of a 6-game losing skid. We'll see if the Padres can keep on playing well in Arlington. First pitch coming up at 5:05. And when we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and then all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game show. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.